you're getting bigger, but like you're not big enough to like support like the overhead of being big.
Yeah.
And
so y'all are in for a real treat today. We've got Sheldon with TSM Roofing, and you may or may not know Sheldon, but if you don't, you're gonna know him after this. But first, shout out to the team at Roofer for help making this happen. If you need instant roof quotes, roof measurements, clean and pristine proposals, which will give your prospects no choice but to buy. You need a CRM, or you just want to talk to great people, mash that link in the description. You'll be happy you did, and they'll know you sent them, or I sent you, because there's UTM parameters around it. And they'll be like, oh, Mike sent it to somebody. So do me a favor. If nothing else, do it for me, folks. Don't be selfish. Sheldon, thanks for coming.
thanks for having me.
Yeah, you endured a long flight to get here.
Yeah, usually for me, I'm headed back east, and like I'm dealing with what you guys are dealing with, but I had a nice like hour flight.
Yeah, mine was 5.
Yeah.
And my back, I felt broken, to say the least, when I got in.
Yeah, that's draining.
Did get a massage. Although I was sitting at dinner and I was like, it doesn't feel like I got a massage. It feels like I got beat in an alley. So, you getting old, so I got to stretch more and do the things, right?
Got to keep up on the fitness.
Yeah. I'm big on journey, right? So I know you're a very successful contractor out of Phoenix, and Prescott. Right?
Yep.
Rome's never built in a day. Where did it start?
Man, so it started, I came from like the installation side of things. All through high school when I was growing up, when we were kids, like we had to, buy our own sports gear, all that type of stuff. So back when I was like 14 years old, we were tearing off roofs in the summertime. Like I had plenty of days that my mom dropped me off to go tear off roofs in the summer. And we did that all through high school. And then getting out of high school, I played like a year and a half of college baseball, had an injury, kind of cut things short. And then I went from there straight into the trades. I was still working for the roofing company that I worked for in high school. But I had gotten to the Carpenters Union, went through a full apprenticeship, like journeyed out and everything. And then I kind of got to the point where it was like, man, like I purchased my first home, and me and my wife just got married, purchased the first home, and I start doing the numbers. I'm like, boy, I'm going to have to work a lot. Yeah. So at that time I was like, well, maybe you should talk to this guy that we were working for, because he seemed like he wanted to retire. Like, long story short, we had a deal. He wanted to retire, and I got licensed and everything, and went back to him, and he totally changed his tune after I had gotten licensed. And then it was like, well, screw it, I could start it for a fraction of the cost, and went out and just started grinding, dude. I mean, like doing the smallest jobs, like one shingle, one tile, like trade it for a Google review. And at the time, we've been talking marketing stuff, or back then, Google was not what it was today. Like the big companies had like 5 to 10 like 5-star reviews. And I'm like, man, everybody, like I go to the restaurant and that's what I'm looking at. It's Google. We just need to get 5-star reviews. So I started trading out those little repairs I was doing for Google reviews. And, there was a point where I had more Google reviews than the biggest companies in Phoenix. And it really, like from that point, kind of helped our growth. But it had been a grind over the years. And this is our 9th year in business now. Going into 2026, probably looking to be our best year. We had ended up having a strong 2025. But yeah, I mean, it's been a grind. There's a lot of things that happen in that 9 years, sure, but a lot of growth stages that you hit. And, when I started, it was a little bit of a different time too. I mean, there just wasn't the resources that there is now. It was like back then, the way I always kind of referred to it as like first man through the wall gets bloody. And it was like trial by fire, figure it out. What works, what doesn't work, keep going. Just as long as you do what you say you're going to do, show up on time and do good work, like you'll be in good shape. And I mean, that's kind of what I've followed over the years. It's been successful for us. So
there's a lot to unpack there. We're going to get back to that in a moment, but you mentioned like the access to resources and what it is today and what it was then. Specifically AI, so I'm sitting at home. It's maybe like 9 o'clock Eastern time, and I get a notification that Sheldon's website goes down. So I call Sheldon, and I'm like, "Hey man, how's it going?" Sheldon went down a rabbit hole, and he did a great job for what he was building. He was building like a hub via AI for his internal team.
Yep. Started playing around with some domains.
Next thing you know, that internal resource is now his website. And I'm like, okay, Sheldon. So we unpacked it. We got through it. It was fantastic. But I think, I say that to say it's a testament to the go-getter mentality that you had that led you to make that transition from working for somebody to working for yourself and persevering through all the bullshit that it's not rainbows and butterflies running a business. No. Everybody who's watching this that runs a business, this. But that probably started young. You mentioned I'm buying sports equipment, so I'm going to tear off roofs to pay for it.
Yep.
I was doing similar things, whether it was cutting lawn, washing dishes, I was doing whatever I could. And for me at the time, it was sports cards and Pokemon cards were the things I was buying.
Well, hopefully the Pokemon cards are paying for you now.
We got them stashed, baby. Yeah. We got them stashed. But I was, I always had that hustler mentality where I'd go to these local events they had for Pokemon. The kids would be playing. I never played Pokemon. I just understood the value of it.
Right.
So I'm like, I'll give you these 3 for this one here. And I'm like, all right, I just net up $30, right? I have my little Beckett book or whatever prices out the cards. Yep. I'm like, just make $28. Let's get it.
It's got to start somewhere. I was never into the Pokemon, but man, the sports cards for sure. We did the same thing. And and I was, I don't know about you, but I was a middle child. So there's definitely the youngest in our family out of my siblings is my sister, and then I have an older brother. So I definitely was probably considered the outcast, I guess.
Sure.
Probably crossed the lines a little bit too much, but
trying to remain relevant, dude.
Yeah. Keep things interesting. And my brother bailed me out of there's a lot of times he bailed me out and everything. And one thing that I felt did really kind of contribute to that go-getter mentality was he was 2 years. So when I was a freshman, he was a junior. He was 2 years older than me. And when I got into middle school, all the sporting events and stuff like that, I always had to play up with his age class. And that kind of carried all through high school. And when I was in high school, it was now kind of, we're all in the same, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So I always I never wanted those guys to be, get very competitive with stuff. And I felt looking back on it now, that time really kind of instilled that extra push, that extra drive with me. And I think it's made a big difference. Today I still if I can get a chip on my shoulder about something, it's it'll push me to the next level. So the competitiveness definitely helps that too.
Yeah, Charlie, if you work with us, Charlie. Charlie very well. He calls it Petty Mike. When I get that chip out, he's like, "Where's Petty Mike at? We need, he's
it'll pull something else out of you for sure.
Yeah, it hits different. Let's go back to the beginning. So you get the license. There's an understanding. That understanding gets thrown away, and now you're like, okay, I'm going to do it myself. So did you continue to work for said individual while moonlighting, or was it a clean transition where you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to go do it myself?
It was pretty much a clean transition.
Okay.
At the time I had been, because when I got out of the union, I got my apprenticeship completed, I got my journeyman carpenter card, and during that time I was bouncing back and forth between the two. I'd go roof weekends or just depending on who had work at the time. And so when I actually got licensed, I was actually working out of state. I was kind of traveling around a little bit, doing the carpentry stuff. And then when that happened, it was I had already, once I started getting licensed, that switch had turned and I was I'm doing this either way. So it kind of, in a sense, it was definitely better that it happened that way. And just another kind of short story there. When I quit my full-time job to go to roofing full-time, we had just bought our first house, and I think we spent $125,000 on the home. And we had $1,800 in our bank account. When I told my wife, I'm I'm done. I'm not going back there. I'm doing this full time. And that'll drive you too. When you start having, people counting on you and responsibilities and stuff like that, that definitely contributed to it. But it just made like that progression a little bit sweeter. And then funny thing too, as you know, that guy ended up coming back and earlier in 2025, we purchased his company, which it's funny how things just kind of come full circle. But that was 9 years later. So he said he wanted to retire back then. Then he worked for 9 more years.
Listen, I mean, you got where you were going. It took a little longer than anticipated.
Yeah.
Listen, you could have the cleanest game plan and somebody misses a block, somebody doesn't run the right route, and next thing you know, you're down 7 and there's 2 minutes to go.
Yep.
You got to figure it out.
Got to adapt.
You figured it out.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Give me the best and worst of 2025.
Ooh. 2025 was definitely a roller coaster year for us. Prior to 2025, we hadn't had like a lot of storms, so it had been a little bit of a slow market for us. Probably like going into the middle of the year was when that actually happened with the guy that I previously worked for came back and he was ready to retire. You want to purchase the company? Okay, cool. Yeah, did it. And at the time, my brother, as you know, was partners with me in TSM, and we purchased the company, and Tyler ended up taking over that company. He's doing his own thing now. But that transition right there was probably the toughest part, I'd say. I mean, and you guys were there through most of that too, and we talked a lot about it, but that was definitely a challenging time for me personally and professionally.
Yeah.
But then like on the back end of it, we had probably the end of the third and fourth quarter were probably like some of the best that we've had to date. So we had some great storms happen, and then we crushed after that. The last 3 months of the year, 4 months of the year, we did really well. So it was like very up and down for 25, but like I said, I feel like we're going into 26 with a strong start. But
what's one non-negotiable for 2026 for your company?
Clarity.
Ooh. Talk dirty to me. Go on.
For me, it's you hit like these stages, and at least when I went through it, it was like that, probably like that 2 to 3 million mark. You kind of go through like a weird transition, and then you're like that 5-6 million mark. You kind of like 6, like right in there. You start to have like you're getting bigger, but like you're not big enough to like support like the overhead of being big.
Yeah.
And we're kind of like getting past that. And I think what we're running into, and we've talked about too, it's just department clarity, like what's everybody's roles and responsibilities, like clear cut, non-negotiable. And I think like when you're in those early stages, it's very easy to have people like working in multiple roles.
Yeah.
And it can, as you grow and you start building more jobs and, sales increase, it can really kind of complicate things. So you really have to like draw those hard lines. You do this, you do that. And then I think everybody operates better. So
yeah. So this will be a perfect segue. And you guys weren't privy to this, but I gave Sheldon some homework, and it was in the vein of what he's discussing. We were having a conversation. It was a great conversation, long conversation. I love it.
yeah,
but we were
off the cuff.
Off the cuff. It was spontaneous, which I'm a huge fan of spontaneity. I blame my parents for, some lack of structure early on in life, but it's okay. We embrace it. But, we were talking through some of these things and some of the challenges, and it's like, okay, so let's create what your org chart is now. Like who's where, who's responsible for what, and let's see where there's overlap. Let's see where we clean up. And then let's create an ideal org chart for where the company's at, right? Like who would be in what role, who would have what exact responsibilities, so we kind of minimize that everybody grabbing at a pile of shit, because with that comes a lack of accountability. So I'll ask you on air, did you do your homework?
I did my homework.
I did my homework. That's why you're my guy. That's why you're my guy. Right there. Try to catch him, he's uncatchable, okay? So we'll talk about that after the fact. But I think that's a critical piece that a lot of people miss is, and it's tough. Like I get it, dude. Like you as a business owner, you're doing so many different things. I equate it to feeling like you're being waterboarded every day.
Yeah.
Right. And you're just trying to get just a full full intake of air into your lungs and it's just water and you're like just trying not to drown, trying to stay alive. And it's really hard to pull yourself out of that and look at things top level down. It's like, okay, because our attention is so fragmented by so many different things. I love that for a goal for 2026 for you.
Yeah. And I, like I said, you know, the domain thing, the hub, and like, it's also, you know, for guys that most guys are using a CRM platform, and it's like this, your CRM can only like do so much for you. You do have like some of those other like SOPs and things like that. And you have to have it like set up in a way where it's super easy for your team, your employees, your sales reps, and so everybody to like go back to a source of truth. And like, that's been like the mission for me anyways, over, you know, these last couple of weeks, as we've been talking about some of the stuff. It's like, they need to have a source of truth, right, that they can go back to. And, because I also it's easy to get pulled down into the weeds. And like, I've always been a lead from the front type of guy. So I want to be out there. I want to sell some jobs. Like I want to be on the roof. Like I know the impact that makes on my team, but it also can, you know, absolutely kill your time.
Yeah. One of the things that I also want to hit on is, let's say we get to a perfect ecosystem of SOPs. Everybody knows where this process is, where this process is. It's equally important as you watch this to understand that those are living, breathing documents, right? So as the company changes, as it evolves, as it grows, as more people come in, there's going to have to be awareness around those. This isn't just like a one-time thing, as you know, and we talked about this, right? So there has to be some sort of cadence of check-in on these things of like where these were created as far as the company size, the personnel, and where are we at now 3 months later, 6 months later, to make sure that there's still, I fucking hate the word, but it's so perfectly appropriate, synergy. It's just such a corporate buzzword that I can't stand, but it is appropriate and it makes sense here. There's synergy between what's supposed to be done for best practice, where we're at now, and is that the case down the road, right?
Yeah. And especially with how quickly things are changed, like if you don't have the ability to like, again, adapt and update those things, it can, you know, just even from like, you know, the end of the fourth quarter to like today, some of just the AI stuff. And I mean, you know, I had a conversation with a friend this morning. It's like you can't quite like wrap your hands around the AI stuff because it's moving so quickly. It's like by the time you think you got it, it's like on to the next thing. So being able to adapt and, you know, with some of the tools that we have out there now, as far as like whether it's measurements, CRMs, like AI, you know, you got to be able to adapt quickly. It's, you know, and it's things like Alivo and like, you know, the call answering, like you need to be able to put those things into those SOPs quick. And then it also needs to be able to be distributed to everybody quickly too. Like we're just in that day and age. I feel like, you know, you gotta try to be ahead of the curve. And that's
it's okay. It's so funny because I'll draw a contrast or a commonality between an issue that I see all the time and what you're talking about, and even back to us, right? So for so many times we would get into a meeting, me, Charlie, Dan, and we're talking about 5 different things, right? And we start talking about one, you got a problem? Here's a solution. Well, this solution works, but what if this, right? And then we would get down this rabbit hole of all these what ifs and adjacently related things to where it's like, okay, we just met for an hour and a half and we got through kind of one solution that nobody's like, I think about it in like a startup space. You have the minimal viable product, the MVP. This isn't where we're going to be, but this is where we're going to start. And this is good enough for now. And it's okay for different solutions in a company and problems that you have to start there, right? Maybe this solves 70% of the issue. Right. And as we evolve and we can put more time and energy into it, we can get to a place where it's perfect. Good luck, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, but you have to like, and that's very common too. And we're guilty of the same thing. It's like, next thing you know, it's been 2 hours and what did you really like accomplish? You know, so that's been a big thing for us over the last couple of years too, is trying to like our time that we spend meeting, like actually being productive, actually like, you know, having like a structure to those meetings, being efficient with the time. Like, it's very easy. Cause then you start getting to a lot of hypotheticals too. And it's like,
I found it's one of the best things I'm good at is disproving why something is viable. Yeah. It's like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. But let me run this scenario by you, Dan. Yeah. And Dan's like, yeah, but if this, and I'm like, yeah, but if that, then that. Right. And next thing you know, like,
because I'd have to guess, like, you're a visionary type person. Okay. Yeah. So that's how I am too. And it's very easy to like go down these rabbit holes. And then if you happen to get like two visionaries together, like,
good luck.
Be building rocket ships by the end of the day.
Yeah. So you mentioned Alivo. Talk to me about your experience using Alivo.
Yeah, it's been a game changer for us. Ultimately, like, it's speed to lead. Like, if you're not with that yet, like, you definitely should be. Every call's got to be answered. Like, you immediately have to like touch those customers. And what I can't have like a office girl answering the phone, 24 hours a day. It's just not realistic. So for us, like the after hours or, like really early in the morning, sometimes people are calling before they go to work or whatever, like just having that ability to have somebody answer that call. And, what I've found too with Alivo was like, there's a lot of people nowadays too, that they like don't want to have that human interaction. Some of them like prefer that interaction with, the AI or the texting. Like, there has to be multiple ways for you to book that customer. Yeah. And I think like my best probably story with Alivo was we had a guy that called in at 1:15 a.m. in the morning for a roof replacement. And like, we're looking at stuff the next day, like this guy's like, whatever, he's probably up late at night, like spun or something like that. Yeah. Not judging, but hey. We sold the guy a roof replacement 4 days later and built it like 2 weeks later.
Look at that.
And, there are people that work weird hours of the day and stuff like that. So, having that 24/7 on your Google and like just trying to get people to come, but you have to be able to capture them. It doesn't do us any good if we spend all this time and effort on generating leads if we can't actually capture them. And
well, that's the thing. And I'll note like the 24/7 thing. Yes. If you have systems in place to be able to accommodate solving customers' needs, so booking an appointment at least, it's great to have. If you don't have something like Alivo or you're not manning the phones, like don't have that, because that's going to turn into a 1-star review. Yeah. They said they're 24/7. I called them at 7:47. Nobody picked up the phone half the time. Nobody called me back. Right. Yeah. So it creates real issues for you.
And people will think too, like, that they're not going to write a bad review. Like, they'll write a bad review just because you didn't answer the phone, like on Sunday or whatever. So if you put it on there, be able to,
Yeah, but I love what you said about some people preferring to use an AI or texting. And we never want to assume how people that we want to purchase our product or service are going to want to go through that process, right? So when I build a website for somebody, I want the different conceivable ways they can contact us to be an option for them. So if it's, there's texting or messaging, there's a form capture, there's an instant estimator, there's a call now, and they're all prevalently placed on the website where it's like, hey, like, how do you want to start this conversation? Because if I'm a 26-year-old IT professional in Phoenix, the way that I'm going to choose to engage with you is likely going to be either an instant quote or some sort of direct messaging. Yep. If I'm a 59-year-old guy on the brink of retirement sipping a beer, I'm probably going to call and talk to your admin for much longer than I need to. Yeah. To feel out the conversation, and just because I got time on my hands, and I'm like,
path of least resistance, whatever they want to do, let them do.
And now our process from there can curate how we move forward, and we can steer them in the direction that fits our process. Yep. But don't make the decision for them. Give them the opportunity, and you'll find that you will have more customers going further down your buying cycle.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, just got to get them there. And maybe we have a lot of people that will go to the website, like maybe they'll like start to fill out the form or they'll call, and maybe like we call them, we try to follow up with them to set the appointment. Well, then we could text them too. And it's just like, a lot of times we'll see those people book via text, Yeah, you have to path of least resistance. And I always like to look at it like I'll put myself like in the buyer's position. And for example, I had to replace a water heater at my house a couple weeks ago.
Same.
And I go to Google, and and I didn't really like I wasn't consciously thinking about it in the moment, but afterwards I was like, man, I know, like I went and I tried to book an appointment, right there online. I didn't want to necessarily have to call, and there's some of like the best jobs we get are the people that we go to them, or it's very easy. It's convenient. It has to be convenient for them. Some of these people that have the bigger homes, the nicer homes, the wealthy people, they're busy. Like it needs to be convenient, and you'd be amazed at like some of the ways that you can make that happen.
Love that, dude. All right, so super happy with Alivo. Glad that you implement it. Scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you couldn't regret it more, 10 being you couldn't be happier. You've been with Ascend for about 8 months now. Where would we fall on the 1 to 10? I
mean, if I say a 10, is it like cliche?
No, you're gonna have to give some context as to why you feel the way you feel.
I think you we talked about it the other night when we were on the phone. It's like I don't know how we would be doing it now, like, moving forward. I told you the previous marketing company we had, they got our Google accounts shut down and everything. And it was an absolute nightmare trying to get all that sorted out. And like my experience with Ascend, like you and Charlie and the team, I mean, it's been second to none. Like the ability to be able to call and like know that you're going to answer and we can have that conversation. Like, what? That was an hour and a half conversation?
Yeah, it was an hour and 36 minutes. I looked at it, I was like, well, damn, that was a heater.
I can't think of like one other marketing company that I know I could do that with not even like, the owner or the sales, whoever your representative is, like none of those people would get on the phone with you for that long. It's like they usually would try to kind of, deflect it, maybe text you back, send you an email. And like, I really appreciate that. All the work has been just phenomenal. And, the one thing that I was going to ask you about, and I've seen it not just in the roofing space, but the Google reviews. Mm-hmm. So it's like the negative reviews is becoming like a really big thing. Mm-hmm. And the reason I bring this up is I have some friends back home that have some guiding services like fishing. Yeah. And they went through the same thing. They called me like, hey, dude, these guys are like writing all these bad reviews and this and that. And I'm like, I got you, bro. Yeah. But I would not have known that had that not been for being able to call you and talk through that, because I was like freaking out when it happened.
Dude, it's your baby. You've built this thing from the ground up. You wake up one morning, you've got 10 one-star reviews, and it's the most gut-wrenching thing I'd have to imagine, right? So Sheldon calls me. He's like, dude, what the fuck is going on? I was like, all right, so first things first, we're going to take a deep breath, all right? We're going to take a deep breath. I'm going to tell you that everything's going to be okay. Here's what we're going to do, right? So if you guys have dealt with this, it's a pervasive issue across many industries. You get these spammers, they give you a bunch of bad reviews. They've gotten better with wording because they used to be really bad. Yeah. But now they actually seem credible if you're reading them. Not so much if you look at the name though, but oftentimes there will be one that has like a picture, an icon with a WhatsApp number, or they'll leave it on the 10th or 11th review. It's like, hey, contact me here. And they'll tell you, one of your competitors paid me to leave bad reviews. You pay me a little bit more, we'll make them go away. No problem, right? Don't pay them. Okay. Google's process is still not great, but it's gotten substantially better that when you go and you dispute them, you report them as fraud, they'll remove them. Also, if they are trying to extort you, there is a review extortion form that you could fill out on Google. So I sent Sheldon the link. We got them down in what, 24-ish hours?
It was less than 24 hours. Yeah. I probably didn't approach it the best way either. Like, because traditionally speaking, like it's so hard to get reviews removed. Right. And most guys, like, that's what they know. Well, I think we actually had like 15 to 18, like 1-star reviews. Yeah. And so at the time I'm like, I had our whole, like everybody in our company, I'm like, put this text together, like send this out to all your customers and stuff. Like, and it kind of like, we tried to leverage that a little bit, and boom, we got like 25-star reviews, dude. And then I filled out that form and it all happened within like the same 24 hours, and they removed all the new 5-star and then like all the 1-star. So our rating actually went up too. It was kind of funny, but yeah, it's It's crazy. I feel like it's getting really bad though with the Google stuff.
Yeah. And I don't envy them having to figure out whether it's algorithmically or with manual review what's real, what's not, especially with AI. This is going to be more of an issue because, for as much as we can use it for good, people can also leverage it for worse, right? So what did we learn? We learned that if you get spammed with a negative review attack, take a deep breath. If they're extorting you for money to get the reviews down, submit the review form on Google. And then we also learned that every day in our business, we want to approach gathering reviews with the same vigor, the same intensity that Sheldon did that day when he got attacked online. Because in a snap of a finger, he got 25-star reviews.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
You light a fire under someone's ass, and next thing you know, it's go, go, go.
Oh, yeah.
So if we're doing that every single day on every single job with every single customer, or even not customers, look, if you go visit somebody and you give them good information about making the best decision for their home and their family, you've given them value. Inevitably, you're not going to close 100% of deals, and a certain percentage of the 60 to 70% that you don't close will buy from you, but a lot of them won't, and they'll just disappear, right? So at the end of that conversation, and you've tried to overcome every objection, they're not signing, it's like, hey, did you find value in what we talked about? What did you find most valuable about what we discussed today? Well, I appreciate this as this was helpful. Fantastic. I hope you choose us, but in the event that you don't, would you mind doing me a small favor? At this point, they just want to get you out the door, right? They just want the time to think for themselves, choose somebody else, whatever. Yeah, for sure. Send them the review link. I just texted you the link. Could you share that experience on Google with me real quick? Now, instead of only getting reviews on 30 or 40% of your customers, you can get them on 100% of your customer. You're welcome. That tip is free. Yep. Okay? Thanks for tuning in. Next one's going to cost them, though.
Okay.
Click the link in the bio. No.
Okay. So I need a tip. The Google reviews, let me ask you this. Do you respond to the 1-star reviews?
Yes.
The fake ones?
Oh, no. No. I don't dignify them with a response.
Do you not think that it makes them send that extortion message quicker?
I haven't seen, for me, we haven't gotten to the point where it's been a problem because honestly, even without the extortion form, they've been vigilant in getting them down pretty quickly. So I don't
without having like that ask or whatever.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So they're usually getting, and then at that time the person's like, I'll just move on to somebody else and hopefully they'll pay me. So I don't necessarily seeing it. I don't see a net benefit to doing it. I saw a company before. They're like, this is obvious spam. Get this off my.
Yeah. Yeah. I responded to like a few of them initially. And then that extortion message didn't come in till it was like closer to that 24-hour mark.
Yeah.
But then, so they hit both of our locations. And the second time, they actually texted our office phone with that message.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Another moral of the story, make sure you have text enabled on your office phone.
Yep.
Because, not only spammers, but also customers may want to text you.
A lot of customers like to text nowadays.
And give them the opportunity to text.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So do you have any questions for me before we wrap up?
No, I wanted to ask you about the Google review thing because I know it's like, I'm just seeing it a lot, like not just roofing specific either, just in general. And it's kind of tough to tell like where all that stuff is headed. I mean, it feels like a monumental task for Google to have to monitor that, to that extent. So
yeah, and I know I told you the first one's free and I'm going to charge you for the next one, but I'm going to give you one more golden nugget before we depart today.
Let's go.
So what I would do is I would have a cadence, maybe like a monthly cadence where you go in and you download an export of all your Google reviews, right? So if in 5 months from now, let's say you have 600 reviews, because it's not only the spam, like sometimes your positive reviews get taken away in an algorithmic sweep. And it's like, dude, I remember vividly, I woke up to like 37 text messages from people. It's like, my fucking reviews dropped by 40 today. Like,
yeah.
So to be able to battle the spam and to be able to validate legitimate reviews, having a real-time export of and you could submit that with the form to Google and like, hey, this is what's going on, and you can validate and show proof, that can only help your case and increase the likelihood that we get the outcome that we want, which is either our reviews coming back or getting, negative reviews off.
And the last thing I'll say is I also think it makes a really good point too, that you have to, your branding, your brand awareness across other platforms needs to be really strong too, because like if you're all Google and that's all you have, like that happens, dude, it's like literally like a gut punch and it's a horrible feeling. So you need to be, you know, visible in multiple places.
But I texted you the other day, I'm like, we need 10 reviews on Facebook. Immediately, like I'm on it. I'm like, let's go.
Did you check it?
I didn't.
Check it.
Let's fucking go. Well, this was incredible, dude. Thanks for stopping by and spending some time today. Yeah, I appreciate it as well. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, spending the little bit of disposable time you have for the day watching us have a conversation. I'm forever grateful for it. And appreciate the team at Roofer. Like I said, there's a link down in the description. We'll put a link to Sheldon as well if you want to connect with him. He's always happy to answer questions and mentor folks. So thanks for tuning in, and we gone.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.